YouTube. That's Cam. Hello, y'all.
Well, hi there.
Don't mind me.
If-
Just on
If you're here
Twitter.
yet, I guess you would because it's noon exactly. So, hi. If you're welcome, or if you're in,
YOLO.
welcome. Let us know who you are.
Publicly live
It's
on
doing that bouncy thing where it bounces
YouTube.com.
up and down between viewers.
Oh. YouTube.com/the after show. Come say hi.
Hello, hello. Hey, Austin.
Hey, man.
How's it going? It's pretty early there, right? You have a cup of coffee or
9
something?
a.m.
And some buckwheat pancakes?
Oh my god.
I was giving him a
That
recipe of
sounds
buckwheat
great.
pancakes yesterday.
My mom used to make buckwheat pancakes.
Mm.
It was
Hey,
it was a little weird because like my mom doesn't really know how to cook,
Mm-hmm.
like truly. It's good, dude.
You know this is public, right?
Yeah, no. I mean, she knows. She
hello.
her claim to fame is
Oh, wow.
well, I mean, you might actually get that answer for you the more you watch. But I'm sorry, let me finish my thought. My mom is like fully aware of the fact that she's not like the best cook in the world.
Yeah.
Her claim to fame is literally microwaving shit.
That's like a profession. You can be good at microwaving fish.
Gordon Ramsay would smack you across the face, though.
You know,
Is it
Gordon
worth
Ramsay is one dude.
Is it worth
And
it?
I love Gordon Ramsay.
Is it worth it?
to get smacked by Gordon? I mean, if he wants to come here,
It
give me a
is
smack.
sandwich.
I might be into it. It's fine.
But yeah, no, she can toast a bagel.
That's good.
We're doing great, you beautiful bastard. What's up, me? Hi.
Hey there. Hey, all you people.
A lot of new faces.
Yeah.
Very happy about this.
So we're gonna vamp for a minute until we see a couple more faces, and
Yeah.
then we're gonna give you the rundown on what this is, because it seems like some of you might not know what this is.
Yeah.
You also might not know who I am.
Well, this is our first public.
Yeah, especially on this channel.
Yeah. So
So
you
this
know,
is
this is gonna be a
Brandon.
regular thing.
For all the people that are coming from me, because I didn't post anything. I forgot to post things to my private stuff. This is Brandon, and I'm Jake. You can call me Jacob. Brandon can call me Jake. You
Yeah,
can call me Jake if you want. And we're going to this is our Let's Talk live stream, which has been private in the past. It's now public. It's affiliated with our Patreon. It had been Patreon exclusive, and now it's public on our YouTube channel, the channel you're on. But it's a submission-based sort of art critique review chat on a Saturday morning. And the only exclusivity to Patreon now, and the integration with Patreon now, is our submissions are from our patrons. So if you're interested in what you see, and you want to be part of that community of people who are submitting stuff to us, submitting stuff to each other, that's Patreon exclusive.
Yep.
But also, if you want to be part of the public community, I think linked in our channel is our public Discord, which has a critique channel as well. So if you like what you see, we're doing this a lot. The community's doing this a lot. We're gonna do some art chatting.
Hell yeah.
We got 12 right now. That's
What's up,
good.
Neil?
Oh,
good,
hey
man.
Neil, what's going on, dude? Good to see you here. I am glad to have you,
I'm
Neil.
glad you're excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited that you're
Yeah.
excited, and I'm excited that it's also exciting.
This is a bubble wand. It does look not like a bubble wand, but it is a bubble wand.
We what did we use that for recently?
Oh, the intro,
No.
the office hours tier thumbnail
Yes.
on Patreon.
But also we use it for a video.
Our intro, at the end of our intro.
Oh right, yeah.
So
Yeah,
you can
little
see us
bubbles.
use bubbles
Practical.
twice, practically as a practical effect.
We love our practicals in this office.
Yeah, there's a really fun. I don't want to derail too much, but there's a fun thing in our. If you look on our Patreon, the thing that you just clicked, the thumbnail is a cassette drawn by my sister Sophie Wolos, and then our office hours tier is a thumbnail that sort of echoes that, and it's like a little tableau assemblage of different items, and in the foreground are these out of focus bubbles, which kind of look like lens flares.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They
So
have
if you ever
lens
want
flares.
practical lens flares that are impractical in space, and you don't want to do it digitally, bubbles.
Oh,
Out
yeah.
of focus bubbles.
Next video on what topic? Pixel buds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Generally what we're
I
doing
think,
here,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Generally what we're doing here is the art thing, and then
Yeah.
usually if we have, just for you, Rohan, we do another live stream that's Patreon exclusive, it's always the first and third Wednesday or Saturday of each month.
Yep.
And if we have a video that's like on the way to being finished or about to be published, we will show a little bit of that sneak peek on the
Today
Patreon one.
actually tends to be that day.
Yeah, so we'll be showing some Pixel Buds footage
Yeah.
and talking about the shots and talking about that setup, and
This is a fun
Edit
one.
and all
I'm
that.
excited for this one.
yeah, it's really pretty.
It is very,
Very pretty,
pretty.
yeah.
It's very different
Yeah,
from anything I've ever made before.
yeah. I'll repeat. I think we're kind of in the nitty gritty of it, but I'll repeat that. This is our Let's Talk live stream. It's an art critique live stream. The submissions come from our patrons. We have 4 submissions right now. We usually take up to 6. So, in the future, if you feel like you have art, you have visual art, you have music, you have a dance routine, you have a
Anything
collage,
under
you have
the
a
sun.
poem, and you have something that you can show us a minute worth of it, we usually give about 5 minutes to each piece. So we see it for a minute, talk for 4, and we just chat about art.
That is us.
Um,
That is what we're doing.
I want to start before we do this, and then we'll go right into our 4 patrons' submissions. You okay? You need a paper towel? He spilled coffee on himself. I guess I started to do this and I got distracted. I should introduce myself for anybody that doesn't know me.
Yeah, no, it's true.
I'm Jacob. I am the other half of our Patreon expedition and the other half of this YouTube channel. I am a composer and a musician and studio manager.
Life organizer.
Yeah.
Sanity officer. Chief officer of sanity.
That's cool. That's fun.
COS.
Okay.
Sanity spelled with an S, right?
It is.
Yeah, sanity. Yeah.
So that's me. Hi to anybody that doesn't know me, and if I don't know you, hi. And I would like to eventually know you.
Mihai.
Mihai is one of our patrons who will be reviewing today. So it was
I make
really
dumb
dumb
jokes.
joke.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I want to start just by saying that we're in the U.S. and the U.S. is at large heaving in protests. We are experiencing
a good word for it.
We're experiencing a lot of tumult, and it's really important. And it comes from really important issues that have been in the pushed away from the spotlight for a long time. And to see the amount of community around these issues and in the protests and the camaraderie and love coming out through these protests, especially in the wake of a time where we've had to separate ourselves physically, is really beautiful and really powerful, and it's really heartening to see the entire world, to see so many countries right now also protesting on behalf of our country's attaining racial justice. So I want to just start with like 30 seconds of a moment of silence, and I would invite you to join us in that moment of silence. A lot of times when people do a moment of silence, audiences will, can take a moment to like look at their phones or something. I would just invite you to, however you feel like it's good to kind of think inward. Pray if you want to do that, if that's your thing, but I just want to take about 30 seconds. And then we're going to go right into our art, because art is what drives community, and it's what moves forward culture.
And it heals.
So that all of this is tied together. But let's just start with that. So there's never enough time to give that moment of silence. I feel like almost like, how could I give blank amount of time without giving double blank amount of time to turn inward and think about that. We're in a very emotional time, and that's important to acknowledge. So that was a really short moment of silence, but thank you for sharing it with us, and we're gonna get right into it. And now we're gonna do probably too much talking and too much noise, but let's start. So we're gonna start with Francisco, who is our patron from Chile.
Hell yeah.
And
I think I speak for both of us in this sentiment, but actually, oops.
Double, yeah.
Not to give you guys seasickness, but Francisco has single-handedly blown the both of us away with these 3 photos.
Yeah.
I think, first off, let's just take a gander, shall we?
Francisco, beautiful.
So you outlined in your email that you played with Lens Distortions, which is an app that I really love.
What did you talk about in a recent video?
I talk about it like a lot. Like I feel like I forget how much I talk about it, but they have an app. Some of their stuff's free, some of their stuff's not free, and then they have really like expensive desktop plugins and downloads, including some LUTs that I really love, that type of thing. But anyways, I think Francisco, did you say whether you just use the app? Yeah, I think you just use the app. So
is it like Lens Distortion?
Lens Distortions app, yeah. So let's just talk about this photo specifically.
Yeah.
What the hell? Why are you so good at this? Why is this so pretty? I think, like, first things first, sharpness is on point. It gives, like, it's almost okay to over sharpen a photo like this, just because it gives that type of crystallized kind of texture on that rock formation, just a bit more life. I think the only 2 things that I'm gonna say is be careful with your highlights in this general region, because these are starting to get a little blown out. And then finally, the last thing I'm going to say is be careful on Lens Distortions when it comes to blowing up some of their filters.
Yeah, it's a grainy.
This fog filter here was not that high resolution, so you can see some pixelation, some weird artifacting happening in this general region, generally where the opacity starts to blend out. Seriously, love this photo. Beautiful. I think the snow looks really believable.
I think I'd want to know what those out of focus foreground trees looked like before the mist, because I know that they were out of focus, and I guess this is sort of my comment about the fog is the fog looks good and it is cool compositionally, being sort of like this edge thing. But it also makes me, it takes me a moment to even realize that those are trees in the foreground. I'm like, oh, green thing. And then I kind of have to look and be like, oh, I think those are the edges of each tree. And then I kind of have to decipher. Yeah. And while I do like, sorry, I'm getting distracted because I saw a comment. You can submit for in 2 weeks. You can submit by joining what's the first tier? Oh, the studio tier.
I always struggle with the tier names.
The studio tier of our Patreon. So that's a $1 a month submission, and what that grants you is access to submit twice a month.
And
so
also our Discord, which is a dope time.
Right. Well, Discord, you get access publicly now. All those channels.
Yeah.
And you can submit to the Discord critique channel, and the community, including Francisco, can talk to you and give you their critiques and thoughts on your art. But if you want to submit to us, to this live stream,
that's
join the studio. So there you go.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think There's something about, I have this duality when I think about the audience's, the job of the artist for how to lead the audience, right? So composition, that's a main composition talk, right?
Yeah.
Composition visually, composition audio based is you have a responsibility to in some ways lead your audience from one section to another, right? But then how you obscure that so that things feel like it's more just, I'm guiding you rather than leading you.
Right.
I'm holding you, right? I'm cradling you in my piece of art. There's sort of like that duality, like it's a balancing act. And so in this, I think my point is I see that out of focus tree, and it takes me half a second too long to I'm looking only in that corner to figure out what it is. And I'm like, what is that? What is that? What is that? And all those moments that I'm thinking, what is that? What is that? What is that? I could be looking at the whole composition. So the fact that it takes me over there, it's a little out of focus. I don't know. I might just.
I think if the fog was a bit higher res, I don't think we would be as offended by it.
Sure.
But I agree with what he's saying in terms of like really popping that green. I think that there's some natural beauty to that.
Yeah. That
could be important. But let's move on to number 2.
Yeah. Oh, right. I forgot we had 3.
This is doing a similar thing in this region. It's not nearly as bad as the other one in terms of the resolution.
The lighting on those rocks is so good.
Let's put it this way. You know how to edit mountains better than Peter McKinnon. So that's what you have going for you.
It is incredible.
Again, just be careful with some of these highlights in here. I'm seeing a little peak. But dude, fuck. And the slight hue of blue.
Yeah.
In that charcoal is just fucking perfect.
That slight blue does it synthesizes atmospheric distortion or atmospheric perspective, which is the further something is from you, the more air there is, which means the more blue light is bouncing around. What are you reading? Yeah, beautiful. Also, the blue against the foreground charcoal is actually a little more red shifted, so you have complementary colors. It's very subtle. It's more neutral, but it's these complementary colors of background blue, foreground like sienna.
Yeah,
absolutely fantastic.
And then finally,
and we have to give this only a second because we're already past.
Hello. All right, there. Looks phenomenal.
Really good. With this one, you have actual mist, so that's good. Unless you did something amazing.
You're going for a high key look, and I think with that, you can absolutely afford to clip those highlights, just because that's stylistic. But the only thing I'm going to be a little critical about is just pay attention to sharpening. I see a little sharpening fray in this region and in this region.
You want to zoom in so they can see it?
Generally more so in here. It's these little clipped highlights in here that are just accentuated by sharpening. Just be a little careful with that. Generally, I like to say I think to make a digital photo more attractive and to take away some of that digital edge, decrease clarity in Lightroom or whatever app you're using. Try and decrease clarity. It takes that inherent sharpening and it lessens it very slightly, giving it just a tiny bit of a more realistic look, in my opinion. Because generally when you're looking at things just with your own eyes, sharpening is not really that heavy of a thing. You don't notice things as being super sharp. But if you look at a photo like this is obviously going to look a lot sharper than if you're just looking at things in real life.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense. But,
and on that, let's go to the next one because we gotta bring it back to that marathon.
Claps in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
number 2,
Austin.
So you submitted 2 photos.
You submitted unedited,
a before,
yep,
and an after. Now, I think.
I was just gonna say, it looks like your end result slightly obviously is the intention of a film feel.
Yeah.
So let's go into talking about that.
So, just talking about compositionally with the unedited, I think you are very close. I'd say, so one thing that I always like to pay attention to is where elements are pointing. Obviously, you can't change much of what I'm about to say right now in this specific kind of photo, but it's like it would have been lovely to see the house, say, here.
Right.
In this general region with the cows pointing this way, or vice versa. But you have a lot of really interesting elements coming into play here, and you also have a lot of really interesting colors that are here.
Yeah.
The vibrant yellows that are existing on the ground. I also love this little bloomy highlight on the fence right here. Very understated blue sky. But let's take a look at your edit. So,
also, your thought on composition, we might be able to consider just a different cropping and get, because everything's so central. Right
hypothetically,
now.
you could.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. I think the only thing that would bother me is that this post is just kind of in the middle of nowhere at that point. Like if you crop, say, here, I might be offended by this post.
I'm sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
It would be on the third. You could put it
kind
you
of,
could line it right up on your
kind
third.
of. I don't know. It's worth a shot.
Anyway, we're gonna lose
but,
focus.
Fact is, you're aiming for a sorry, give me 1 second. You're aiming for an age film kind of look.
Yeah.
And it goes a little bit further beyond just adding that scratch, that grain.
Yeah.
I think you can actually lessen up on the film scratch and grain, just a hair. You have to sort of toe a fine line in like what is a little too distracting and what is just noticeable enough.
Yeah.
And I think this is just a little too far on the distracting side of things, but your sky is perfect.
Yeah.
I'd say overall saturation can come down a bit.
You know what's interesting too? Sorry to get in the way. Something about your saturation, because I've been looking at this and I'm like, it's really, really vibrant. It's really, really vibrant. All the colors are vibrant. If this image was taken to black and white, the vibrance would shine through, and like you could have a black and white film vibe going that would be like incredible. And what I would do is probably, I don't know what the official word is, because I'm not a digital photographer. I think it's like to just blur it all slightly, because like sometimes film isn't sitting right on the enlarger.
Well, I think so. That's sort of part of the decreasing clarity tool.
But you would decrease clarity even over, and this is important, if you decrease clarity, decrease it over everything unified, including the layer of grit. Because what happens is the grit, I've done analog photography, and the grit comes from when you're actually processing the film, things are sitting, dust is sitting on the grain, and so when you get that in focus, it's there, but when you get it out of when everything's a little out of focus, it's also out of focus.
Yeah. I think another thing to be aware of too is generally with film, your greens are not going to be this saturated. They can be, but it doesn't really look realistic.
And they're not so blue-green, because that's like a very digital thing.
Yeah, I'd say shift them more... shift them to more of an orangey hue. I'm thinking of a photo that I actually edited of Jake recently. Is it okay to show this?
Yeah.
All right.
It's fine. Show it on your phone.
We were incredibly green that day.
Yeah.
But what we did to sort of give it more of that vintage film feel is we shifted all of the greens to be more of like an ambery kind of color. I don't know if you can make that out. But that amber sort of helps sell that aged sort of look. I think with this, because there's just so much green, be a little less liberal with shifting that color too much, because you don't want it to look fake.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just be aware of how saturated the greens are.
But it looks fantastic.
It looks fucking great.
And man, I don't know. It just looks really good.
Yeah. Wait, when was this shot? 5:20. Okay, so like a week ago. Nice.
Let's see what do you say, Austin?
Gotcha.
I think they can go well together.
They can.
I would take a look at what colorful film looks like, because it has, I wish that I had something better to give you right now, but it has a very particular signature.
Yeah.
Very colorful film has a very yeah, go ahead.
One thing you got incredibly right though is dialing back highlights, because like in those clouds, you brought those back to earth.
Yeah.
And that's a very smart move. But yeah, no. Just pay attention to saturation. I think that's my main thing here.
Let's go into Garangs. I wanna real quick.
Yeah, 1 second.
You know what I'm doing.
Oh my god. Do what I want.
Okay. So let's go into Garangs. Garang is a tech reviewer on YouTube, and a patron of ours, and a dear friend. And he's asked. He's been. Correct me if I'm wrong, Garang, but you've submitted this in some version of an iteration a couple times, because I know we've looked at it, but I really appreciate your utility of this space and the time with us, because every time it's like, can you look at this a little bit? Can you look at that? Yeah. Right now, I didn't answer you an email. You had asked me kind of a lot of things, so I'll answer you now, which is, with our 5 minutes, we're only going to be able to skim, and we did a skim, so we'll look at some of your transitions. I want to talk probably about what I always want to talk about, which is sort of the narrative that you're constructing. I'll start by saying, everybody pay attention to, this is a long video, and he's broken it down into sections, and one thing that I really appreciate is that with each section header, the color of his shirt's changed. Just the little things like that are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah. I think also we sort of talked, was it last time, about audio and sort of, bettering audio and that type of thing. And like that's kind of that's something that I struggle with still, is like, audio is such a difficult thing, and like especially coming from a world where like I have always been into like the freelance world of video and making videos for clients and that type of thing. Like I have not had to think about audio, because that's just not been my position. So entering in the tech space, I speak for myself and probably a lot of people, is like, especially those who come from a video background, audio is something to get used to and learn about. And that's why working with Jake has been wonderful, because I know very little about audio and he knows a lot. So get yourself a Jake. That's the moral of the story.
Find yourself a Jake. That is something I didn't say in my credits.
Get yourself a Jake.
Is that I'm a sound engineer. So
yes,
that's one of the reasons I'm here.
Yes.
Okay. So pay attention. I want you to listen, audience, family. I want
Children,
you to listen and watch, and we're just gonna skim a little bit, but let's take a look. Also, Garang had asked that we look at B-roll, so let's look at some B-roll. We're just gonna skim. Start with intro.
Nice colors. I like these books, man. Oh, they went away. Bye. Okay. I like your pacing.
I like the dust in the air.
I think one thing that's really important to note.
Oh, this is really good. Your intro is fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the point of an album? I've seen people buy iPods.
Okay,
So
pause
much-
I like how you cold open like that. It's like just very quick to the point. Like, what's the point of this fucking video?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Couple things real quick. I think we actually mentioned this. You mentioned this with Daniel couple weeks ago, which was that if you look at the reflective Apple logo on a couple of these, there's light bouncing off of it, and I think you had suggested there's ways to alleviate that.
So I think with Daniel specifically, we're talking about top down or flat lays for those of you that call it that. But basically, like one hack that I sort of learned is if you want to avoid reflections of the camera or extraneous lights or what the fuck ever, take you can call it a flag, you can call it a black shade. It's literally, you can buy some like black foam core from like an art store or whatever.
Yeah.
Just have it above your camera. That eliminates a lot of bounce of light, that type of thing, and it gives it just a very clean black, like on. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, there's like a little reflection.
See like the little reflections. If you had a black shade behind the camera, that would just be solid black.
And then similarly,
sometimes you don't want that, but sometimes you do.
Different way to apply it, but similarly, I was just thinking about the reflection off of your glasses. Maybe that's intentional, but
maybe it is.
But if you wanted to omit that, that would be just a perspective shift.
Yeah.
Slight.
The other thing that I would suggest to you, Goreng, is where is it? I want to find the thing that I'm talking about. Where are you? Notice me. Stall, Jake, stall.
I don't know how. I wasn't taught how to stall.
Do it hands.
No.
These things, which are like 4-in-1. This is a diffuser. It literally folds up to be that small.
Yeah.
But basically, it comes with a sleeve that you can take off. It can be a bounce. It can be a gold bounce. It can be a silver bounce. It can also be a black shade. So it's like 5-in-1. But also you take it off and you have just an overall diffuser. So you can sort of like, I still see my hand behind it. But basically, like with Goreng's A-roll set right here, if he had put this in front of his light source here, bounce here, you're just going to get a very clean, diffused, soft light coming right through. All those reflections on his glasses would be completely gone, and the light would be a lot softer. No harsh shadows, nothing like that. And that's actually something that I noticed with this video, just from glancing through before, is you do tend to have a couple of harsh shadows. That type of thing, if you either bounced light or just diffused the light through using that, it would kill off those harsh shadows.
I guess I'm also thinking of like
it costs like $50.
Yeah, which is cheap, but it's also expensive if you're starting up. And I'm thinking of like really simple, like foam core. You could probably get for $5. You could probably, like, if you couldn't find black, you could probably paint it with like a matte black, because the matteness is gonna not be reflective. You also could, and this is like very much low budget, if you had a black shirt on and like a coat, like a shirt hanger, you could probably hang in space where you need to be hiding something.
Exactly.
So think about practical applications of simple stuff too. We've already gone over our 5 minutes. We usually try to keep each person to 5. I want to hit a couple more things. I will
say, like, just generally going through your B-roll and your transitions. Like, you talked about changing shirts a bunch, and I really like that idea of just like video chapters through like visual sort of things, visual notes.
Yeah.
But you did one thing here, which was actually kind of cool.
Yeah. Very
nice.
fun.
Very nice. Very nice.
Also, everybody, just go watch this video, because we're not going to be able to take the moment to...
What's this channel called?
It's Goreng Aurora.
Is that
And it's Why Does the iPad Exist?
Okay, go to that channel. Go subscribe to him, because he's fucking dope. Let's get him to 200 subscribers.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that on that.
Keep Goreng above the after show.
Yes.
That's it. Our goal is
we love to cannibalize. So yeah, that's that on that. Let's go to next.
Yeah, Mihai. Mihai.
That's nice.
Is in Romania. And
so
this is beautiful. Yeah. That double rainbow. Fantastic. Look at, and those clouds are like...
Oh, I didn't even notice in double rainbow.
Directional movement.
Shit, you're right. What did you shoot this on? Did you say? No. I'm gonna be a bit of a sleuth right now.
I knew you were gonna do this.
I'm gonna be an internet sleuth. Wait, hold on. I have to view. Can I get info from here? No, I have to go to the file itself, right? You have to go to the file itself.
Brandon's gotta be sneaky.
I am an internet sleuth. Pay me.
You're like,
Get info.
it's less of a sleuth. It's more of like a.
Shh. I'm a sleuth. Never tell me otherwise. Damn.
Doesn't say.
Alright, this internet sleuth has been
Unsleuthed.
unsleuthed.
You've been desleuthed.
I've been desleuthed.
Okay. Let's just look at the photo.
Yeah. I'm
It's a
sad
good
now.
photo.
Mihai, if you're in here, tell me what I shot on because I feel very defeated right now.
Yeah.
So
One thing I like a lot
yeah.
is that at the current aspect ratio, the current cropping, I really like this foreground building in both thirds. It's almost exactly taking up both third corner or ninth. Do you call it a ninth? Quadrant. Bottom right, bottom left quadrant.
Yeah. One thing I am going to say in terms of a Lightroom tool and also a tool that you can find in a couple other editing applications, but it's called Upright Guides. But basically, one thing that bothers me just very slightly about this photo is just the overall skew. So basically what you do, iPhone XS. Okay. I'm sad that I couldn't find that out myself. But basically with an upright guide, you select this upline and then roughly probably the wall would be about here.
Right.
And then you can also go for an upright guide to about here to here. That way you have two parallels. Right. So it'll shift all of these walls to be flat up.
Well, it shifts the whole image, right?
It shifts the whole image. But basically, you can do that over here too with these lines. Doesn't really matter how big.
If you constrain a parameter, if you create one layer of that and then you create a second layer, it'll constrain within both of them, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
So basically, that way all of these buildings will be flat up.
Yeah.
And you can change the aspects of that, so you can get in a bit of the higher clouds, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm not sure if you'd consider editing this much, giving it more of a stylistic kind of flair, but I'd say really lean into that sky because you have some really interesting light formations.
There's like light coming off of the rainbow. It's amazing.
Of light.
Yeah. They actually continue.
Is that rain?
It's not directional rain, and there is definitely rain
it can be, right?
creating that. Yeah. Man.
But
yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, no. I think the way iPhone also took this without over sharpening things also is good on you, iPhone.
Yeah.
But I think there's a lot of depth dimension to this photo.
I like that there's a little. I mean, obviously this is a compositional thing, like how you shoot, or where you shoot from. I like a little bit of this mountainscape. I don't know, wish there was more. Maybe there is right here, and I just can't see it because it's rainy. It actually does look like.
Oh, it does.
So maybe I don't know if you could find a way to just elevate that.
Godzilla
slightly.
in the background.
Yeah, Godzilla's right here. There's like the needle over here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the ISS. Okay.
It's a pterodactyl. But
you could
really
copy
love this
that
photo.
pterodactyl, make like 1,000 of them.
Exactly.
That'd be a cool photo.
Just pterodactyls in the chat.
I don't think. I wish that was an emoji.
I think it is.
Okay.
Isn't it?
Let us know.
That was a pterodactyl.
Send us
if there's a
pterodactyls.
pterodactyl emoji, send me a pterodactyl.
DM me a pterodactyl.
Yeah. But I love this photo. I love the sky. I love the light. I love everything about this photo.
Looks really good. It's very
hard in for time.
We're doing good on time. That's about 45 seconds.
Swag.
It's very it's just very peaceful. And the light is, I love that quality of light when it's so dark overhead, but there is this like gold. You're not in golden hour, but you're in like synthesized golden hour because of the way that the rain is affecting the light.
So he's saying there are more mountains.
Gotcha.
But it's foggy. Yeah, actually, I don't know if you want to do this, but if you want to take a shot at editing this photo and playing with something, and you want to resubmit it next, let's talk.
Or just throw it right in the critique channel.
We could do that, or you could throw it in the critique channel.
Yeah. If you took a clear day version and had the edge of the mountains and just took away everything else and just superimposed very low opacity, just the edge of those mountains. It'd be kind of nice.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, no, I
Really, really good.
claps.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Cool. So let's. Were there any comments that we didn't get to that you wanted to? I appreciate all of you conversing.
Yeah, no, I
it's
wish
hard
I
to-
had more time to converse and talk with you, but we're kind of on a tight schedule here.
Yeah, that's it's good, and it's good for all of us. It keeps things moving.
Yeah. We also have to get to a bigger, more in-depth live stream for our Patreon that actually has to do with fixing stuff.
Right.
And
every
doing it.
Every day we live stream, we do a Let's Talk, which is this one. It's public.
Yep.
Community short art.
Yep.
And then we do an hour or half an hour later. So 20 minutes from now, we'll do it 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
No pterodactyls.
That's the closest we can get to pterodactyls. It's fine.
Apple.
But
You failed me.
yeah, so that one is always about, like, this is critiquing and talking to you guys about your art. This one's usually talking about our art and how we do things and how we, edit and talk about being an artist, things like that. So that actually goes really naturally into my last two of my last notes for today. I'm keeping notes to try to keep us on track, which is something I haven't done in the past. It's proving to be fairly useful.
Stark contrast from me.
So just to talk a little bit about schedule, 20 minutes from now, we'll do our Let's Fix It chat. If you're not in that chat and you want to be in that chat, that's the office hours tier of our Patreon.
Yep.
You can go and join that at patreon.com/theaftershow. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. This Wednesday, with those same patrons, the office hours patrons, we have a chat once a month. It's always the second Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a chat with all of us. It's an audio chat on Discord with all the patrons, Brandon, me, and each month we invite a resident artist to join us on that private Discord channel for the whole month to just be chatting, and also in that audio chat to talk about their creating, who they are, how they're making, what they're up to, and to just all kind of create this soup of art, soup of creativity. Yeah. So this month's is Justin Harris. He has been a patron. He has been a friend.
Mm-hmm.
He is a creator in Oakland, California, and
a bit of a fun fact about him. The first time I ever heard of Justin or had any interaction with Justin, I just started my channel on YouTube, and I was up at 3 a.m. on pre-order night of the iPhone 6 or 6S or something, and I joined, or was it iPhone? It was probably iPhone 7 or something, and I joined Justin's live stream on his channel.
Oh, cool.
He was also waiting till 3 a.m. with a couple other people, and that's the first. I doubt he remembers me from that, but
that's funny.
It's kind of funny how we've come full circle back to this.
So Justin is an artist, a draftsman, an illustrator, and graphic designer, I think.
He's a graphic designer,
and also a community leader. Yeah. And one of the reasons that we're talking to him this month is that he is creating a virtual conference. It's a creators conference.
I appreciate you guys for supporting Office Hours.
Oh, sweet. Held 2 weekends from now. We'll talk about it this Wednesday in our private chat, talk about what that process has been like, talk about what the process is going to look like, how we can help, all that kind of things. It'll be just a fun chat. And I don't think he knows this yet, but I'm going to ask him if, there's a funny way to do this. I'm going to ask him if he wants to also do a public live stream here, even just for a couple minutes to promote that, to talk about it. So you may get, before he does it, you'll definitely hear from me and Brandon on all of our social media promoting this event that he's holding, but you may actually see us talking to him before it happens too. Justin, this is my way of asking you if you want to do that.
Not to be on the spot or anything.
Yeah, don't have to, but it's something I was thinking we could offer. And so that's this Wednesday. We'll do another one of these. Our next live stream Saturday is 2 Saturdays from now. It's the 20th of June.
Okay.
So that's always at noon, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is Let's Talk.
Yep.
1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is Let's Fix It. that's it for now. The last thing that I want to do is kind of come back to my moment of silence I had given, and just say, I think all of our jobs right now is to be present, to share space with each other, to educate ourselves. It's not the responsibility of somebody else to educate us. It's our responsibility to educate ourselves here, and this is something I hear a lot of people in my circle talk about, but I think it's not talked about often outside of some of these circles, which is feel vulnerable. It's a really, really tough and scary time across the world for a lot of different reasons. Quarantine, protests, change in thought, community coming together. And if you don't know something and that scares you, that's okay. It should scare you.
We're all in the same boat.
Feel that vulnerability, something that I remember being taught by some fellow artist activists, community leaders, is as an animal, as a species, we have this tendency to close down, to hide our soft spots. I don't know if that makes any sense.
No, I get that.
And
yeah.
It's like literally, it's a physical response that we have to fear.
Yeah.
When we open up physically, it allows us to think a little more clearly. So notice when you start to feel scared, worried, challenged, angry. Those are all byproducts of feeling like you don't know something. Use that as momentum to educate yourself and to act accordingly. That's my job for the foreseeable future, for myself, for the betterment of myself, for the betterment of my community, for the betterment of equality and justice around me. That's my job. That's the only thing I can say for me, but my hope is that that's also the way that you carry the flame of community around you, is by also doing those things. So that's all we'll say for right now. We'll see some of you at 1 o'clock. Just be aware of what's going on and be open. This is a time to find empathy. Black lives matter. Trans lives matter. Black trans lives matter. This is Pride Month in America. Think about that.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now.
This is really important. This is a really important time. That's it. Thank you for sharing space with us, and we love you guys. Yeah,
and the first one too.
Thanks for being part of the first public one of these. Yeah.
We'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
See you soon. Bye.